Well, hello, Flint. One thing I do know is governors, and you've got a hell of a governor in Michigan. Can I say that? To Senator Peters and Stabenow, thank you on behalf of the whole country for the work that you do. Michigan, you know the assignment. There's several things going on here. Alyssa Slotkin needs to go to Washington. Make sure that happens. And I've had the privilege of serving with someone I consider a dear friend, an incredible member of Congress, Dan Kildee. Thank you, my friend. Hard to replace him, but I think you found somebody to do it. Kristen McDonald-Rivert, make sure she gets there. Make sure they get him there. Mayor Neely, thank you for having me in this incredible community. And Pastor Overson, the words that he spoke, that we know what we have to do. We got 4 days to get that work done, people. Let's get her done. Now, to all of you, thank you. Thank you for coming out. Look, anywhere else I would thank you for coming out in the cold, but for God's sakes, we're Midwesterners. It snowed in Minneapolis yesterday, so we're ready to go. But you came out for a simple reason. You love this country and you know there's work to be done, so thank you for that. Well, 4 days. We're down to about 100 hours on this thing. This next 100 or so hours in the work we do will shape not just the next 4 years, but the next generation. Hard to believe, but there's still a few folks out there with their minds aren't quite made up. Now, you've heard this from folks. I know you have. Well, I really don't like Donald Trump personally and the things he does. And then you're like, oh, really? You know, we've seen that. But then they follow up, but things were good when he was president. The economy was good. Little fuzzy in how they remember things. So let's just level set here before we understand what's at stake. During Donald Trump's presidency, this country lost 2.7 million jobs, 280,000 in Michigan alone. Unemployment was up, and Donald Trump so botched the pandemic response that we were in Hunger Games with our neighbors to find toilet paper. That was Donald Trump's lack of leadership. But look, if you were a billionaire 4 years ago, like Elon Musk, you did pretty well because you got the Trump tax cut that went right to you. All the rest of us, we got squat out of the deal. Now, you remember a couple months back, they got caught on tape, Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They were laughing how fun it would be if workers went on strike just to fire them. That's how they think about it. But now it gets worse, and you need to know what's at stake. I think this group knows. I know this is preaching to the choir, but our recital's 4 days away, people, 4 days away. So now he wants to put Musk in charge of being the economy czar for all of us. Now, Elon says the only way to make this economy work is to crash it, to take it down. And he warned you, though, Americans, this was Elon in his own words, Americans are going to have to be prepared for some hardship. So I would ask all of you, what in the hell does a billionaire know about hardship? These damn people. And then he's talking about $2 trillion of cuts, because that's how we have to make the budget balance, even though Donald Trump called himself the king of debt and drove up the national debt higher than any other president ever has. But Elon says we have to cut $2 trillion. Now, he may be bad at math. We know Donald's bad at math. But to let you know what $2 trillion is, all of the discretionary spending that our government makes in a year is $1.6 trillion. So you're starting to get the math. To get to $2 trillion cuts, you got to go after two things. You got to cut Social Security and you got to cut Medicare. Just so we heard them, J.D. Vance said, we're going to have to cut Social Security. And Speaker Johnson this week said, when Donald Trump wins and they're in charge, there will be no more Obamacare. Getting rid of the ACA means getting rid of the protections for pre-existing conditions, just to be clear. If you're a woman, you have asthma, you've been sick before you had anything, insurance companies make the decisions, not you. Now look, Donald Trump did say he had a plan. No, he didn't. He said he had a concept of a plan. Concept of a plan. And he and the Republicans tried over 60 times to get rid of the ACA. Had it not been the courage of John McCain, they would have succeeded. It's that simple. Might be why John McCain's son is endorsing Kamala Harris for president, too. But look, Donald's not spending any time thinking about ways to make your life easier. In fact, he's not thinking about you at all. Now, look, 4 days. You had enough of this. You've seen a few ads in Michigan, I would guess. You've seen a lot of folks coming through, but hopefully they come and stand in front of you in Flint and tell you what they're going to do. But be clear about this. If you're feeling anxiety or you're feeling stressed or you're worried about this, there is an antidote to that. Go out and vote for Kamala Harris. Instead of wringing your hands, go ring some doorbells for some people. Make a difference. Look, voting for her works. I had the opportunity last week to cast my vote, and I went to the polls with my newly turned 18-year-old son, Gus, who cast his vote. He knew it. You know it. We've got a chance to elect a new generation of leadership. We've got an opportunity here under Kamala Harris in Michigan alone, in conjunction with your governor and your senators, created over 400,000 new jobs. It's a new way forward, and you saw her. You saw what a president looked like earlier this week on the National Mall. And she promised you, and she said, on the first day in the White House, she will go with a to-do list. Donald Trump has told us he will go with an enemies list. And each day he adds names to it, just to be clear. Top of her list, lowering the cost of things for you and your families right off the bat. That's got to be a top priority, putting more money back in your pockets. She will go with that sense of purpose every single day. She has talked about this and will implement it. 37 states have it, but we need it federally. A price gouging ban that makes sure companies can't take advantage of us. Quick primer on what that means. I was with a farmer yesterday in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I said, "What are you getting for corn?" He said, "Oh, about $4.10 a bushel." And I said, "So when grocery prices were cheaper years ago, what were you getting for a bushel of corn?" "About $4.10 a bushel." They're not making any more. You're paying more. Corporate profits have shot through the roof. That's where the issue is, and a national price gouging ban will put more money back into your pockets. That's how it works. Under a President Harris's plan, 100 million middle-class Americans will see a tax cut. No one making $400,000 or less will see any increase in their taxes. That is everybody pretty much I've ever known in my life is where it works. And the biggest impact will be a $6,000 child tax credit in the first year of a child's life, so you can buy the crib, buy the car seat, buy the clothes, get the things done. And extending that cap on insulin for $35 now is capped for seniors, extending that to all Americans who need insulin to protect their lives. Second price gouging primer. Before we put a cap of $35, they were selling it for $800 for one of those little vials. Cost $5 to make it, just so we know how this works. And then she proposed a plan for many of us. And for those of you with less hair or gray hair, you get this. Young people, trust me on this. When you turn 60, you start paying a lot of attention to Medicare. You start paying a lot of attention because it's dignity in your life to be able to afford the care that you need. Kamala has proposed extending Medicare to pay for home health care so our seniors can stay in their homes. Big deal. And I think many folks might not have known this. Currently, Medicare does not pay for vision, for glasses, and hearing aids. We will extend it to those things, too, for quality of life. If you want to own a home, we're going to make sure there's 3 million more units being built and that you get the opportunity to get a $25,000 credit for the down payment to get more people in their homes. And for those of you who want to be entrepreneurs and start that American dream, it costs about $40,000 to get a small business off the ground in the beginning. Currently, the law says you can deduct $5,000 tax credit. Kamala will propose and we'll put into law $50,000 to get you off the ground and make it work. Now look, that is not a concept of a plan. That is a plan, and I'm damn proud of it. That is a real plan. I got asked, and the vice president got asked, well, how will you pay for this? Well, for starters, we'll have Donald pay his damn taxes, and we can go from there. Elon can pay his taxes. But in all seriousness, they do have a plan on the other side. It's called Project 2025. Folks, they have thought about this long and hard. They have brought the folks in who want to reimagine what America looks like, skewing the system for a few. I said, and they're pretending now, oh, this doesn't mean anything. Bull crap. They created that thing just like I said, you create a playbook in football so you can execute the plays. They plan on doing this. This playbook is a damn nightmare for the middle class. Look, in this thing, they're going to repeal the bipartisan infrastructure law. To these members of Congress who helped pass this, this was the most significant investment in American infrastructure since the Eisenhower interstate system. It is huge. It is huge. They'll repeal that, take back the jobs. Repeal the Inflation Reduction Act that's moving us towards a better and a cleaner energy future. They will pull that back, costing hundreds of thousands of jobs, many right here in Michigan. And then, because Donald Trump appears to be unable to understand that when you slap a tariff on goods, the people pay for it. The people pay for it. 20% increase, $4,000 to each and every one of you. You would have thought in his nearly 80 years on the planet he could have learned what a damn tariff was and how it worked. But maybe not, because he couldn't barely open a door to a garbage truck, so we know that. Now look, there's a lot of independents and Republicans supporting this campaign, and they're doing it because old Republican Party stood for something and contributed to this. And when they talked about freedom, they meant it. When Donald Trump talks about freedom, he means the freedom for he and his government to be in your exam room, to be in your bedroom, to be in your kids' libraries, to tell you what to read. I've said it, and you say it here. We're all better off. If they mind their own damn business, we mind our own business, and things will work. But here's the choice. When Kamala Harris talks about freedom, freedom for you to make the choices, not politicians. You decide who you marry. You decide when you go to the doctor. You decide when you start a family. You decide what you're going to read. That's what freedom looks like. And where Donald Trump called Social Security a Ponzi scheme, in every one of his budget, he voted to cut it. They talk about raising the age to it. J.D. Vance said it's the only impediment to fiscal sanity. What we understand is freedom is for our seniors to retire with dignity by strengthening Social Security and Medicare. And folks in this city know what freedom looks like. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water, to make sure. Because investing for it, and we must make those investments because we can't afford not to. Now, Kamala understands working with communities to make sure you have the ability to not just get by, but to be able to thrive. And I'll say it here, we've seen it across this country. I say it as a father of a senior in high school. I say it as someone who's been in the classroom, and now as governor of Minnesota. The freedom to send your little ones to school in best dressed clothes, to go be kids and learn, and the freedom for them not to be shot dead in that classroom when they get there. And I refuse to have them frame this up. I know guns, you know guns. I was a veteran, a hunter, a gun owner. Kamala's a gun owner. We have our entire lives, and we know that we can uphold the Second Amendment while upholding our first responsibility, which is the protection of our children, first and foremost. Now look, it's coming down, and I know you get it, but I'm going to talk to just the guys here. I want the guys in the room here to think about, or those who think about the women you love, whether it's daughter, wife, mom, aunt, neighbor, friend. Think about them. And when you think about what the next 4 days in this election means, their lives are literally at stake in how this election goes. Donald Trump's the guy who appointed the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe versus Wade. He brags about it, and those women you're thinking of right now, they have fewer rights than their mothers and grandmothers had because of Donald Trump. 20 states have Trump abortion bans. yesterday, and this nightmare continues on with him as he spirals down. Yesterday, he told us he is going to put RFK Jr. in charge of women's health. And he told the women here that he would be your protector. And he added, he said, I quote, I'm going to do it whether women like it or not. Which is pretty much what he's done his entire life. Well, now we're seeing it. Women turned away from emergency rooms, miscarriaging in parking lots, whether they like it or not. Survivors of rape being forced to carry those pregnancies to term, whether they like it or not. Fertility clinics having turned couples away at the door, whether they like it or not. This is personal for me and my family. We had fertility issues, but we had fertility treatments, and we had our beautiful daughter. And I will be damned if anyone in this country should be denied the right to have their family of their choice. When Congress and we get the majority back in the House of Representatives and hold the Senate, and we restore reproductive freedom, Kamala Harris will sign that bill into law. Folks, it's pretty simple. Kamala Harris and I trust women. And I have a feeling that women across this country of every age, of either party, are going to send a loud and clear message to Donald Trump next Tuesday, whether he likes it or not. Folks, Kamala Harris has been saying we're not going back, and she means it. And she means it. I'm here today on behalf of soon-to-be President Harris, myself, and the rest of this country to humbly ask you for your vote. We got 4 days. Momentum's on our side, but this is the time to take nothing for granted. So this is the time, folks. It's a pep talk for the folks who are here. Tie game, 2 minutes left. We got the damn ball. We got the best quarterback in Kamala Harris. It's on the field. We got the best team that's doing the work in all of you. We don't get tired because we sleep when we're dead in this group. You know that 1 or 2 votes per precinct in Michigan could make the difference. Not for 4 years, but for a generation going forward if we win this thing. There's going to be a time when, and I know the young people find this hard to believe, you're going to be older, you're going to be sitting in that rocking chair on the porch rocking, and a little one's going to come up to you and they say, tell us about the time in 2024 where we saved democracy. What did you do? They're going to ask you, what did you do in 2024? And your answer is going to be every damn thing I could. Every damn thing I could. How many have voted in this group? All right. How many have made phone calls in this group? Anybody door knocked? All right. Here we go, folks. If you still got a mail-in ballot, get the damn thing in the mail today. Or take it to the clerk's office. Or make a plan to vote between now and Sunday. Or on November 5th. Now, here's the deal. iwillvote.com/mi to find your polling place. That's what you got to do, folks. And here's the deal. What a privilege, within a little over 100 hours, to be able to work our tails off, to be able to stand up for this democracy, to be in that long line of patriots that did the right thing for this country, to be able to make an impact, protect reproductive care, create good manufacturing jobs, increase union participation, do something about gun violence. All of the things we want to do, we've got the ability to do it because we believe in the promise of this country. And as the Vice President has taught us well, when we fight, for the next 4 days now, when we vote, Michigan, bring this thing home for America. Let's go. Let's go.